Happy Halloween, guys. Welcome back to day 31 of 31, the final day of my 31 days of Halloween-themed drawing tutorials. Today, with it being the final one, I decided to bring in a special guest. That's right, Mrs. Dell is back. If you guys didn't watch the previous videos with her, my wife is a total newbie to Procreate. Only used it 2 times before in the previous video, so this is her 3rd time using it. So we're gonna draw a bottle of poison today, so stick around. It's all in real time, no time lapse, and this one should be fun. So let's get to it. You ready, Mrs. Dell?
I'm ready. You ready, Beach?
I'm ready, Slick. Are you?
Poison.
Oh, well, I just asked that. So, okay, guys, let's get started. All right, so starting out, we're gonna use a 4000 by 4000 300 DPI canvas. Mrs. Dell's using a first gen 12.9-inch iPad Pro with a Gen 1 Apple Pencil. I'm using a Gen 4 2020 iPad Pro 12.9-inch with a Gen 2 Apple Pencil. And to start out, I'm gonna use the standard Inker Streamline brush. If you just hit your brush library, I think I've already got it loaded. The blue brush there at the top.
That one.
Yep, hit it again. So yeah, standard Inker Streamline, that's part of my cartooning set. And for the color palette, once again, I've got this pre-made, so if you want to download the exact same colors that we're using in today's tutorial and follow along, you can go to my website, bjdell.com, underneath the YouTube reference materials section, which I'll link this in the description below. You can save this as a JPEG, go up to your wrench icon, go to insert a photo. That's gonna bring it in as a separate layer in the Procreate, and then you can just long press the colors as we go through the tutorial. So let's go ahead and begin.
Okie dokie.
So to go ahead and start, you've already got the color palette open. Let's go to our colors here, and we're gonna choose green. That's gonna be the first color that we're gonna use. Now, before I start these tutorials, I kind of picture them and get an idea of what's going on for these. With this one, kind of sense something strange in my mind that might give you some problems, but don't worry, we'll go ahead and work through them. So let's go ahead and start. So first off, we're just gonna draw a circle with our finger.
You have to start with the circle.
You're good at circles, I know. And then put your other finger down on the thing to lock it in. And
Nope.
got to get it all the way connected. Almost. Try it again. Lock it in, there you go. And then we're gonna drag and drop the color over here.
All right.
So we've got it filled in. Now we're gonna go ahead and go up to our arrows here. And once we got that clicked, we can start to move this around. So to begin with, I'm gonna go ahead and go to warp. And this is gonna be the bottom half of the bottle. So we basically just wanna kind of pull in down at the bottom, kind of flatten this out here. Then we're going to kind of pull out the top to widen that top. Pull on each side. I'm going to pull mine in just a little bit more here to get that shape of the bottle that we're going for. You got it?
Okay.
All right, go ahead and hit your layers, lock that in. And then using that arrow again, we're going to grab that and we're just going to go down here to freeform. And we're just going to drag it towards the center and a little bit lower there, and you'll see it'll start to lock in right there in the center. So there you go. And go ahead and hit your layer again to lock it in. Looking good. So now let's do the kind of part that comes up here towards the top. So to do this, we're going to go back up to our layers, and we're going to slide this one to the left. And we're going to go ahead and duplicate it. So now we've got 2 of the same layer. So now we want to go up to our arrow again. And then with freeform selected, we're going to kind of pull in and then up.
Is that good?
Yep, and then clicking over to warp, we're just going to kind of pull in the bottom here so it kind of pulls back around and curves. It's going to go in towards the center. And then back out at the top so it kind of flanges out.
Okay, I think I like it.
There you go. It's oh so beautiful.
Poison.
All right, so now go ahead and hit the layers again to lock that in. And we're gonna go ahead down here, layer 1. Actually, let's go the top layer 1. Yep, the one you're on. Let's go ahead and slide that to the left, and we're gonna duplicate that. Then we're gonna go back up to our arrow, and then with freeform selected, we're gonna go ahead and drag that up and then out. Mine's got a little lip at the bottom there, so don't worry about that because we're going to fix that here in a second. So this is going to be the part we're going to have like a cork coming in there to seal it off.
Shouldn't I do it on both sides?
That's okay. We're going to fix it. So go ahead and now with freeform selected still, just grab outside of that and drag it all the way here to the bottom. And let go of it for a second. And then go ahead and pinch so you can see, there we go. We need to see the edge of the canvas right here. And then get this all the way to the bottom until it gets basically flat on the edge there. Maybe up a little bit further. Oops. Turn off your snapping there. There you go. All right, so go ahead and hit your layer now to lock that in. And then back up to your arrow. And we're just going to pull that on top of that other one.
What am I?
Turn off your snapping there. Turn off magnetic. That's selected. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
Lock it in and go ahead and hit your layers there to lock it. Now with yours, and I'll do it with mine too, go back up to your layers, and with this blue, you want to slide this one to the right. Slide the bottom one to the right. And then go back up to your arrow. This is going to allow us to select and move all these, and then drag that down to the bottom, about right there. And then I'd probably, from the corner here, pull in just a little bit to shrink it down. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And then if you move it back to the middle to get that line down the center, just kind of move it around so you see the line in the center. Maybe, oh yeah, turn snapping back on. There you go. Keep going towards the center. Yeah, close enough. There you go.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and turn snapping back off now and magnetic back off. All right, back up to our layers. And then layer 1, the bottom layer 1, go ahead and click on that once. And then let's go ahead and slide that one to the left. And then we're going to duplicate that one. And now go back down to the bottom one. We're going to go up to our color palette. And we're going to select the brown, the third one from the top. And then we're going to drag and drop that into that big section there. Now you can't see it because it's sitting behind. So we want to go up to our layers. And actually yours didn't go, so go back up to your color palette and select that brown and then drag and drop it in again.
I went back to green.
There you go. That's because you're holding down on it. If you hold down, it'll switch it back. Just do it real quick. There you go.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so
Good
now
to know.
open up your layers again there. And with that one selected, we're going to go up to the arrow. And then just grabbing this, we're going to go up so we can start seeing it. And then start to drag it in from the corners to make it smaller, and then just keep dragging it up.
Okie doke.
All right, and then I would probably go to warp now,
Okay.
and then maybe pull down the top just a little bit so it kind of flattens out, looks a little bit more like a cork. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
All right, and go into layers to lock that in. So we've got our basic shape of our poison bottle. So let's go ahead and add a label to this now. So with this bottom green layer selected, we're going to go ahead and add a new layer. And then we want to set this one as clipping mask. Actually, let's wait on that for 1 second. We're going to set it to clipping mask, but first what I want to do is go up to the colors and go to this kind of yellowish off-white color there. And then we're just going to drag that in to the canvas. It's going to turn everything that color. Now we're going to go back up to our layers. Clicking on that layer, we're going to set that as clipping mask. And that's going to clip to our bottom green.
Okay.
So now with that done, we're going to go up to our arrow. And then with freeform, select that. But you're good. What?
There's a bug on mine.
A bug on yours?
Oh, it went away. Never mind.
That's a piece of dust. It's a piece of dust.
Oh.
Blow it off. Yo, Slick, blow. Poison. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and go to freeform.
All right.
And then start to pull down this towards the center. It's going to be kind of that label going across there. Back up, pull it back up a little bit more. Maybe make it a little bit wider at the top there. All right.
A little more.
Maybe a little bit more. And then going into warp now. Kind of pull the bottom and then the top down. So it starts to kind of have a curve to it. Pull that one, pull that one. Pull that one. You can either do it, towards it or away. Whichever one you want to do. How you want to have the curve coming.
Probably your way.
And then grab the center and kind of pull the center up just a tad bit. There you go. Cool.
All right.
All right, so go ahead and go to your layers now. Lock that in. And then I think we're going to go ahead and combine these. Let's go layer one, that green layer there. Yeah, grab that one. Holding down, drag it down underneath to right there. And then let's go ahead and click off the clipping mask right now on these. And then do the same thing here, because once we move that, it made a clipping mask on both. There we go. So now with this one, touch this one and hit merge down. So now those are all in one. So now with the label selected again, click on that, the label, and then hit clipping mask. It'll bring it back
There we go.
to where we want it at. So there we go. We've got that. Let's go ahead next and let's do a skull in the center here. We got to know it's poison. So for this, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and let's make a new layer here. Go ahead and set this one to clipping mask. And then I'm going to go ahead and go up to my colors and the fourth color over here. Go ahead and select that one. And your favorite part, we're just going to draw a circle in the center and drag and drop the color in there. I think you got it. That's okay. Go ahead and drag and drop.
Okay.
And then going up to your arrow up here at the top. Go over to uniform. And then just kind of drag that into the center, wherever you think looks centered there. There you go.
Okay.
Cool. All right, looks good. And then next up, we're going to go ahead and let's see. Let's go ahead and for here, just go back to your brush.
Okay.
And then we're just going to drag, put your pencil down and just drag a straight line across or diagonal here and just hold the pencil down so it locks in the line. And then coming back down here, we'll drag another one. So we're basically just doing the crossbones right now. Go ahead and lit up. And then on the edge of these lines, we're just going to do little circles there for the ends of the bones. And then we'll repeat that. Around to the other ones.
I don't like that one.
Looking good, looking good.
Freeform circles.
Is it easier doing that than drawing them with your finger?
I think it might be, maybe. Okay, maybe it's not easier, but it's, you can tell what it is.
So you've got those. Let's go ahead and just grab your arrow again. Now you can kind of play with that if you want to shrink it down, move it over so it's a little bit more centered. However you want to mess with it, make it bigger, make it smaller. There you go. I think that looks better.
There we go.
All right, so go ahead and hit your layers to lock it in. Now let's go ahead and make a new layer and switching our colors back here to that second yellow.
Okay.
I'm going to select that. And then on that new layer, I'm just going to draw another circle here for the eye. Holding down to lock it in. Hold down your other finger.
Does that lock it?
Yeah, close enough. If now go ahead and drag and drop the color in. We'll just do it easier this way. There we go. Now going up to your layers. Just slide that one over to the left and duplicate. And then grabbing your arrow then, you can move it over.
Good, because I want it bigger. Hold on.
It's going to be, yeah, just grab it from outside to move it over. Oh, go up to your layers again. I don't know why yours isn't moving. Okay, grab the arrow again. I'll just move it over to the right. Oh, grab outside it, like over on the actual canvas. There you go. It's wherever you want. Lock it in. And then mine, I'm going to go ahead and click that and then merge down.
That one?
Yep. I'm going to move mine over here.
I think I need to fix the other eyeball.
I think it's okay.
I think it's quirky.
I think it's
So
quirky.
like
That's
it.
how I usually draw my cartoon stuff,
Okay.
is one eye big, one eye small. So from here then, let's go back to the skull layer. With that selected, go back up to your colors. And that fourth color over that we used for the skull, we're just going to go down here and just kind of draw in some oval, half oval shapes for the teeth.
Oh, okay.
Just like that. Kind of like what we did for the bones, the ends of the bones.
Okie dokie.
Looking good. It's also deadly. How about that?
Poison.
All right, so we've got our base design done now. So now we're going to go in and start working on the shadows and the highlights. So to do this, we're going to go back up to our layers menu. And let's go ahead and start with the big section here, the big green section. So what we want to do is we want to go up to the eyeball one here. We're going to go ahead and set that to clipping mask. And then we're going to make a new layer. And then we're going to set that to clipping mask. So that's going to clip down to our big green part. So now going back up to our color palette here, we're going to go ahead and select black. That's what we're going to use for our shadows. And then going to our brush menu. This we kind of want smooth to begin with. So we're just going to use the airbrush. This is part of Procreate. Everybody has this brush. Let's go into airbrushing. Click that one more time. And then soft airbrush. You got that selected. Then we're going to go ahead and just click in here. And then we're just going to kind of start pulling here on the side. I've got to adjust mine to get it to the right size that I want it. And I've got it set, yeah, about there. It looks pretty close. And then just kind of bringing this up along the sides really light. And then up along that back side as well.
That's too much.
So what I do is I usually start outside of.
Okay.
So over here on the canvas, you can see as I'm pushing down, it's actually going in there. That's why I start out pretty big. You've got a little bit more control. And then kind of bringing it up here to the top as it comes around. And if it's too big, you can always make the brush smaller too with that slider. Alright, so you've got that. Let's go ahead, and one thing I noticed I want to do is the top green, this very top one. You want to go ahead and let's bring that down. Maybe, no, let's leave it on top actually. Let's see. With yours, I would go ahead and grab that top green, go to the arrow, and drag that over. See how that's coming behind it?
Yeah.
You want that to actually come out to the front. I'm going to adjust mine just a tad bit here too.
More like that. Nope.
Just so it comes over the edge, to the edge, or a little bit past the edge. We just want it to look like it's a lip sitting on top of there.
So more like that on each side? Or?
Yeah, just a little bit past it or close to the edge. Or you can bring it up further too. That might be half of the problem. If you go outside of the thing there and bring it up, maybe a little bit lower. There you go. All right. And then maybe pull in from the top so the lip's a little bit smaller. Nope. Grab that circle in the center there and pull in from the top. Oh, you're on uniform. Go down to freeform. That's half the problem there. Oh, you're back on uniform when you undo, because you undo and then it kicks it back, so.
I'm so indecisive.
Get it to where it looks like it's coming across there.
I think that's better.
Good. Okay. So go ahead and hit your layers to lock it in then. And then kind of hit underneath there then with that shadow. If you go back to your layer 7 where we did the shadows, just kind of hit underneath the lip of that. Whoops.
Mine's not.
What's that?
It's not, doesn't seem to be doing it. It's doing this part.
Go back to your layers. Let me see what layer you're on. Should be good. easiest part here is you see how that comes up like that. So instead of going like this, what you want to do is actually go with the flow of the way that that's going. Yeah, go with the flow over here. But then for the top, then you can go left, right. You basically want to go the way that the lines are going that you're trying to shade.
It's not getting the top one at all.
What, under here? Is that what you're talking about? This part?
Okay.
You might want to up your slider there, your opacity slider. Yeah, put it up so it gets darker. Press down a little bit harder.
Ooh.
Maybe make your thing a little bit smaller. The top slider, yeah, there you go. Make that a little bit smaller.
That's better.
Okay, so we've got that. We're going to go ahead and go up to our color palette.
Oh, okay.
And let's go ahead and select our white. And then we're just going to bring in a highlight here on the right side coming up. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and up to our top layer here. Go ahead and make a new layer. And we're going to set this one as clipping mask. And then we can actually use it since we're on white right now. We can just get the highlight here on the right hand side. All right, and then switching back to our colors and going to black. Just hitting in a shadow there on the other side, on the right, or on the left. I'm also going to hit a little bit of a shadow there at the bottom as that curves back around. A little bit too dark. And if your stuff's a little bit too dark, you can always go up here to your layers menu and hitting the N, you can slide down the opacity. That's something that's changed in the Procreate 5X update. That's the only way that you can get to the opacity slider now. I know before, like in our previous videos, we went up to the adjustments layer, if you remember that, and did it that way, but Procreate 5X, they changed a bunch of stuff on that, so just got to remember where everything's at. Since the update, they've moved around so much stuff, and menu-wise, you might think, okay, that's why it's hard for me to find, but seriously, just once you get to know where things are, it's going to be better, easier for you as you start to use Procreate. And don't worry if you think it's driving me out of my mind, just play with it for a while and you'll get used to it. All right, so we've got that done. Let's go ahead and add in some shadows and highlights then to the cork. So we're going to go down to layer 1.
All right, back to that. Just go back a layer.
Yep. Go down to layer 1. The brown layer 1. Yeah, we don't have these names, so go ahead and make a new layer. And go ahead and hit that and clipping mask. And then once again, we're going to come back in here with black. So just start to, you're on the thing right brush. I just messed up and hit that.
Okay, so I'm going where?
Back to your layers. So we're on layer 9. You got that set as clipping mask. So go to your, just select your brush. Okay, so just click out into the canvas there. Yeah, and just hit the side here.
Oh, for a corky.
For the cork. And then switching back to white, we can just long press here if you want to do it that way. Let go, maybe. There you go. And then we'll just hit the front of that just ever so slightly. All right, looks good. So now what I want to do is let's go back to this layer 7. That was the one that we started to do the shadows on. And this one we're going to add just a little bit of texture here. So if you go up to your brush library and go down to texture pack, it's the second one from the top there.
All right.
For this one, we're going to go ahead and just use specs. That one's all the way there at the bottom. That's going to be the specs one that you got. Okay, and now with that selected, let's go back to our layers. We're going to make sure that we're on that layer 7. And then we're just going to come in with the black again. We can select it there from the colors. There we go. And then we're just going to come down the side just ever so slight and kind of add this in. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see. See, it's starting to add some specks in there. I just want to do it really light in there just so you've got a little bit of texture in there. So one thing is if you come back in with an extra shadows or highlights here, like we're already adding to it, we've already got shadows and highlights on here. So when you go to add more, you've really got to look at it. You got to check out the highs and the lows, keeping one eye open to make sure that everything matches up. And now for the highlights. Actually, I messed this up over here. There we go. Let's add in a little bit of texture here at the top now.
Ooh.
So if we go to layer 8, that very top one, and once again, we'll just pull in there with a little bit of the black. Just not too much, just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of specks in there.
Okay.
All right. Now, let's go ahead and let's go back down to this layer 7 that we've got the shadows and the highlights on. Let's go ahead and make a new layer. And with that one now, we're going to go back to white on our color palette. There you go. Select white. Yep. And back to brushes. We're going to go back to what we started drawing with, just that cartoon brush pack standard inker streamline.
How do I get back to that?
Hit that BJ Dell one up there at the top.
Okay.
And then
And
you're on there. Yep. I'm just going to make just an oval here, like that, dragging and dropping the color in.
enough. Okay, adjust it.
Yep. So if you go up to your arrow again,
Okay.
and then go ahead and just start pinching. You can zoom in here, and then so that way you can kind of pinch and move a little bit easier.
Okay.
Drag it around.
Okay, I like that better.
Looks good. All right, so go ahead then and just hit your layers, lock it in. I think I'm going to do another one just right here, a smaller one. Just like that.
Okay.
And then maybe one up here, and then on, actually that's going to be a separate layer, so we're just going to leave it there. All right, then we're going to go up to our adjustments, which is that.
Okay.
And we're going to go to Gaussian blur, this one right here, and then hit layer. Then coming over here, we're going to hold our pencil down and then slide it to the right. And then slide it back. So you're going to see that's going to start to blur out. Keep going to the left. Keep going over. So you want it to have just like a glow to it and a shine.
There we go.
There you go. Got it. Looking good. So there's that. Let's go ahead and hit layers to lock that in. And then let's go back down to layer 9. And let's make a new layer. Set this one as clipping mask.
Okay.
Then we're going to go back up to our brush menu, switching back over to textures. That's the second one down. Yep. I've actually got a cork texture in here. So we're going to select that cork, pull it down towards the top. There you go. Going with black now.
Okay.
And I'm going to zoom in here and I'm just going to hit the back side of this and bring that cork texture in there.
I gotta make my brush bigger. Okay.
All right, we'll pull out here. And now let's go ahead. I'm going to go back in to layer 7. If you don't want to do this, it's up to you. I'm going to go back into layer 7 with that shadows, and I'm going to go to my airbrushing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and kind of bring in the top as it comes around here so it's kind of curved a little bit more.
Okay.
It's up to you. If you want to do this, might be a little bit more difficult kind of getting this, because then I'm going to come back in with my eraser and kind of taper that line off. So
Okay.
I think
Where's
this looks
my eraser?
pretty good. Going up to the eraser
all
there,
right.
and make sure, click that again. You want to make sure that you're on airbrush for that. So you're on a different airbrush. So go to your top by sliding down. Nope, on this right hand side, the actual airbrushes.
Oh.
Yeah, slide that, and then soft airbrush there at the top.
All right.
Yep.
And then take some of this out.
Yeah, kind of taper it there. Yep.
Okay. I think.
That looks good. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, cured it pretty quick because we're running out of time. So poison. All right. Next up, let's see what we want to do. I'm gonna pull out here and look at the screen. I think that's pretty good for the overall shape here. I'm gonna come back in one more time on my top one here. I just want to add a little bit more of a highlight.
On which one?
On the top, where the cork going into this top layer
Oh,
one.
gotcha.
Just using the white. I'm going to hit this a little bit more here on the top and towards the front. Just make that a little bit more three-dimensional. There we go.
Let's go into my other one. I'm on the right layer.
No, you're on the green layer, so back out. If you undo there. That's one thing. If you go to change back something, always make sure that you're going to switch the layers back, because it sucks to do a bunch of work and then you realize you're on the wrong layer, and then one wrong move and you're dead. So poison. Let's go ahead and go back up there to that and go then to layer 8. That's the layer you want to be on.
Okay.
That's the layer that's attached to that. And with that, you want the highlight over here. If you're putting it down at the bottom, that's going to be like the shadowed area. So yeah, kind of towards the top, and then doing like a lip there.
I can't get it.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then if you just use your eraser to kind of fix it up, I think that looks good.
Nope.
And I'm going to go back in and add a little bit more highlight here. You don't have to do it because yours actually has more highlights than what mine does on the cork. I'm just going to add a little bit more here to the front. A little bit more. There we go. All right, so now let's go ahead and just do a quick background. So we're going to go back up to our layers menu, and I'm going to make a new layer at the bottom here. So go down to the bottom, hit plus, and then you're going to see it's not at the bottom though, so we want to grab this and drag it down underneath. All right, going back up to our colors here, we're going to go to this purple color, and then we're going to drag and drop that in. Now we want to go up to the arrow, and we're going to go to uniform, and we're just going to pull this in towards the center. And then you might want to pinch out so we can see it. There you go. Just pull it in towards the center. We're going to make this kind of a frame here.
Good.
Wherever you want it.
Oh,
Good. I've got
like
mine
how
short.
yours better.
It's up further up.
Okay.
All right. So now that we've got that, go ahead and hit your layers to lock it in. And then we're going to slide that one to the left. And we're going to duplicate that one. Then we're going to come back up to our colors palette. We're going to go to white, and we're just going to drag and drop that in there. Okay. Now we're going to go back up to our arrow, and we're going to pull in from the corner.
Oh, okay.
So it's making the frame. That white then is going to frame it out. And just kind of start dragging it from the center there. Pull it from you just actually inside there. All right, and go ahead and hit your layer then to lock it in. Now we're going to go ahead and set this as alpha lock. So clicking on that and going to alpha lock. Then coming back up here to our colors palette, we're going to select this blue color. And then we're going to go ahead and go to our brush menu. And I'm going to go back to texture pack. And let's go down let's do the feather crosshatch.
There it is.
There, yep. All right, and then I'm going to start pressing down harder at the bottom and just kind of let up.
Oh, I like that one.
As I go up to the top, so it just kind of fades. All right.
You like it?
Looks good. So I think we're pretty much done. I'm going to go ahead and make a new layer, and then I'm going to sign it. You can sign yours too. You don't have a signature though. Oh my goodness. I don't think we've ever signed one in your videos before.
So what am I going into?
Just go up here to the top, click that, and just make a new layer. Press plus for the new layer. And then switch back your brush then just to the BJ Dell one. Then I'm just going to sign down here. You can sign however you want to. Let's see what you come up with for a signature.
Oh, it needs to be in a different color, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can go ahead and go back up there and just go ahead and pick that purple. That'll
Okay.
work.
Now, how do I get my... I don't think I like that.
Signature. The situation is serious.
Poison.
Looks good. So go ahead and slide and pull out so we can pinch out so we can see what it looks like. All right. And there we go. You've got a bottle of poison, something I'm sure you're eventually going to try to slip me during our marriage sooner or later, if you haven't already. I don't know. Probably.
I'll never tell.
The husband didn't always
You'll never
do it.
know.
So thanks again for joining me on the final episode of the 31 Days of Halloween. I appreciate it. Thanks to you guys that watched, especially if you tuned in for all 31 days. You're the real MVP, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And to answer the question, no, there's not going to be a November or December one. 31 days, all in a row, a lot of work, and it's not going to happen for next month and the month after. It's just not. I'm sorry. That is it for today, and until next time.
Never trust a big butt and a smile.
Poison.
Poison.
Poison.